Hello and welcome to the Fortean News Podcast with your host, James Coppett. Oi, how you all doing? And welcome to the Fortean News Podcast. I'm your host, James Coppett, and I just want to say to every single person listening, I hope that you and yours are safe and well in these increasingly troubling and ongoing times. I'm really excited because since last time I spoke to you all, the podcast has been made available on Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts, which for me is extremely exciting. I really want to say thank you so much to those people that have subscribed, and I know at least one person's left a star review, so I'm really grateful of that. I'm just going to be really real with you for a second. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you for money. This podcast is a labour of love. I work full-time, and I'm a single dad with 2 kids at home. So I'm currently recording this at 2 a.m, so it's very much on top of everything else that I do. I also do research every single night, looking through all the different news headlines, and I might look at 100 headlines and pull out one thing. So it really is a labour of love. To make it worth my while, I really need more people to listen. So at the moment, I'm only getting a couple of people listening to each show. So I really want that you people that have listened to subscribe, just to tell a friend. Tell 2 friends, tell all your friends. The more people that like and subscribe, share it, leave a star review and everything like that, it just kind of helps make it worth my while doing it, because I do enjoy doing it, but I've also got a lot on my plate. But if there's plenty of people listening, I'm going to keep doing it. That's a promise. So thank you so much to those people that have already subscribed and shared it with other people. And without further ado, let's get on to the first story. Our hero, Charles Ford, loved to report when it rained strange things out of the sky, and the Fortean News Podcast has seen a recent trend which is being reported by, well, no one. Although the cases have all been reported individually at the time of occurring, I have seen no one link all the stories together. I myself have even contacted a number of papers, and not one of them has followed up on this strange phenomenon. Now, you've heard the saying it's raining cats and dogs. Well, how about bats? In September 2019, 100,000 bats fell dead from the sky in Australia. The next episode, which some press reported fulfilled an end-of-days biblical prophecy, occurred in March 2020, when thousands of bats fell dead out of the sky in Israel. And then more recently, in May 2020, hundreds of bats dropped dead from their roosts in the middle of the day in India. Now, seeing as the press named this nocturnal flying rodent as the original purveyor of COVID-19, it is bizarre that no one is linking the dots or even asking what is causing them to rain dead out the sky. Thousands of bats in one country dropping dead out the sky is strange. 2 is a massive coincidence. But in 3 different countries over a half-a-year period, at the same time as a global epidemic is going on, raises some incredibly important questions that no one is answering, let alone asking. What do you think? Get in touch with the Fortean News Podcast at gmail.com. That's Fortean News Podcast at gmail.com. On to another strange link. DC reported that the word guano was used to explain why viewing figures have also plummeted dead from the sky with each new episode of the series Batgirl, which was released during the same period. Coincidence? UFOs are also back in the news big time this past week, with one strange sighting making an appearance across the globe. All over the world, people are reporting seeing a squadron of UFOs. On Friday night in Leith, near Edinburgh, Scotland, multiple residents cited a group of lights shooting through the sky in a strange formation. Although this was later debunked by a theatre who claimed they were shooting lasers in the clouds to celebrate the cancelled Fringe Festival. But what will get the lovers of conspiracy theories tongues wagging is the fact that on July the 25th in Shenzhen in China, photos of exactly the same phenomena were filmed in the sky above the Asian city. Despite being exactly the same as the footage in Edinburgh, and the Edinburgh theatre's lasers not quite reaching the other side of the world, these lights were written off as being light pillars, where lights reflect off ice crystals suspended in mid-air. Like the previous bat story and last episode's story of flight glitches, this could all just be a coincidence until you add another dimension to the story. The day before the sighting in China, the exact same squadron of UFOs was filmed in Laurel Ray, Pennsylvania, USA. No explanation has been given to this sighting yet, although maybe the local theatre was shooting lasers at ice pillars suspended in the air. Sticking with the theme of UFOs, many of you will have heard of Operation Paperclip. When the Allied forces won World War II, they rounded up the Nazi scientists that were working on this specific project and gave them a pardon as long as they agreed to move over to the USA and join NASA. It was rumoured they were found to be working on the Nazi Bell, a strange bell-shaped vehicle which could fly. This was reportedly backwards engineered after a UFO crashed in the Black Forest in Kecksburg in Germany. Well, on July the 25th in Switzerland this year, a man filmed a peculiar bell-shaped UFO floating in the sky, which then suddenly vanished. Is this the result of Operation Paperclip? Or is this an alien who is a vintage UFO enthusiast taking a model he's been doing up every Sunday for years out for a spin? We will never know. But whatever it is, the Pentagon has this week confirmed it records sightings of UFOs and is planning on releasing more evidence to the public. Also this week, Christopher Mellon, former Defense Department intelligence official for the Clinton and Bush administrations, told the New York Times that people need to start taking UFOs seriously and that the military has constantly given evidence of, in his words, off-world vehicles not made of this earth which moved in a way technology would not allow. Not only that, but sightings have increased across the globe since lockdown. Are these publicity stunts before mass disclosure? Let me know what you think at forteannewspodcast@gmail.com. Also in the news this week, a guy that seems to spend a lot of time on Google Earth, Scott C. Waring, from ET Database, thinks he spotted what he states is a 22-metre alien walking in the mountains in Antarctica. He also found nearby what he describes as a 24-metre cave entrance, which he claims is the perfect sized doorway for a 22-metre alien to live in. Let's not forget that Antarctica has for decades, especially amongst people like Scott C. Waring, rumoured to be the hiding place of underground Nazi laboratories since World War II, after they've tried to reverse engineer rumoured crashed UFOs. However, this is also the rumoured habitat of the Sasquatch, and let's not forget the Nephilim, heavily rumoured to have existed in virtually all religious texts, who were giants who wandered this very earth. Could it be any of these enormous creatures off for a stroll to get their morning paper? I hate to be a spoilsport, but to me, dear listener, this is a case of pareidolia. Sure, it looks like a humanoid in shape, as does some clouds, but I don't think God is taking a skip through the sky, although to be fair, Scott probably would and get very excited about it, but no. To me, the outline is far too crude to be that of a figure. Also, it casts no shadow at all, which a creature that size surely would upon the white snow. No, this is a group of rocks where the snow has melted away, leaving a cute image of a man shape behind. While a tourist was scaling an almost vertical rock face using ropes and climbing equipment to visit the Bang Quen Temple in the country of Laos, he stopped what he was doing, as in shock and awe, he filmed a barefoot Buddhist monk carrying a bag saunter straight past him as if he was walking on a slight hill with absolutely no effort and completely defying gravity in footage put on TikTok, which was then picked up by the international media. It becomes even more impressive when the monk revealed in an interview afterwards that he hadn't even been bitten by a nuclear spider. More ghostly videos have emerged this week. First of all, a teacher in Mexico was running a class online via webcam when a ghostly figure of a small girl comes into view behind the teacher's right shoulder, looks at the screen before scuttling out a camera shot. His students obviously freak out, and he turns the camera to show that there's nothing there in the room. But considering the girl in the video looks like something straight from a Japanese horror film, this looks most likely to be a well-made, good fun, old-fashioned prank. More convincing, however, is a viral video on Reddit posted by a user who states they are continuously having strange things occur in his parents' home. The video starts with a dog staring, quite obviously spooked by something, and then the basement door starts going crazy like it would if you hold the door handle and shake the door violently in its frame. The video shows the person recording suddenly open the door while it's still rattling, to be met with not a soul in sight, a completely empty room, excuse the pun. And now for the final story. The incubi and succubi are well-known horny little demons who like to make sweet love to humans. I mean, after a whole day's evil doing, it can get a little lonely on those drawn-out summer nights, and even Satan's minions need a bit of love now and again. These entities have been things of legends for centuries. However, what would you think about getting the nasty on with the dead? No, I don't mean as in necrophilia. This is not that type of podcast. What I'm talking about is bumping uglies with ghosts. A sex advice column recently received a letter claiming to be genuine about a lady who started to think of a man from the 1920s who lived in her apartment while she, how can I say it to keep my suitable for the kids badge, while having special fun alone time. Now, you've seen those ghosts that look like someone under a sheet with eye holes in it. Well, this is the opposite. This led on to the ghost getting under the sheets with the lady for full-on hot, sweaty all night long. Now, it is certainly one way to spend lockdown. And as strange and crazy as this sounds, it's not as uncommon as one might think. And even celebrity females have claimed to experience this very thing. In 2004, Anna Nicole Smith said she did it with a ghost and described it as amazing. Keisha also claimed that she had an incredible hour with a past male, instead of most ladies who describe their male as past it. And even actress Lucy Liu said, in her words, "It was sheer bliss. I felt everything. I climaxed, and then he floated away," which sounds like a much bigger improvement to what most women are left with snoring next to them at the end of the night. It does raise some questions, though. If I sleep with a dead person, is it still cheating? Could I open a ghost brothel in somewhere like the Amityville home? And finally, does this solve the often questioned origin of ectoplasm? Let me just leave that one with you for a second. I must admit, from someone who'd had a healthy sex life in a haunted bedroom, my partner and I did have lots of conversations about whether the deceased were watching us and how we felt about that. Although thankfully Rose, the angry resident poltergeist, never felt the need to join in. So that's it for another week of the Fortean News Podcast. I do hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed doing it. I will be back again next week after I scoured the newspapers all week for the strange, weird and wonderful things that are going on in the world. And like I've said, if you see anything, especially in local newspapers, I really appreciate if you send me the links to the Fortean News Podcast at gmail.com. So please, please, please spread the word. Let everyone know about this podcast. Anyone you might think likes it. I will improve as I go along. As I say, I'm only 4 or 5 episodes in, and I will get better. I'm still nervous doing this, so I really appreciate your support. Any support you give me, I'll be really gratefully received. And I do love hearing from people, so please do get in touch. So I'm going to upload this after I've edited it, and then I'm going straight upstairs to bed, as it's nearly 2:15 in the morning. And I don't want to be here at 3 in the morning, because at 3 in the morning, in the corridor right next to me, there are strange things going on, strange sounds, even being reported by my neighbour when I'm away for the weekend. He even considered calling the police after hearing loud bangs and things falling over in my house when he knew I wasn't in. Things have moved, there's sightings of things, and we've even heard screams. So on that note, I'll keep you up to date as we go along, but I'm going to bed. Good night.